I get asked over and over what type of target do I use for my crossbow. That's what this video is about. I am sorry it's taken me so long to put this video together, but hopefully you will get something out of this. Hopefully it will answer questions with any information I have about crossbow targets. There are basically three types of targets out there for crossbow hunters. The first type is the type you can get at Walmart. It's made out of styrofoam and it works pretty good for a season, maybe 2 seasons. I think I used mine for 2 whole seasons. It will hold up to a little bit of use, allow you to sight in your crossbow, and eventually it will give out and it won't be stopping those arrows properly, so you'll have to let it go. No reason why you can't get into crossbow hunting and use that target to at least sight in your crossbow and at least make sure that your crossbow is shooting accurately before you go hunting in the woods. The second type of target that you can get for crossbows is the bag type target. They're a great target. They stop arrows fantastically. Might be a little bit of difficulty getting arrows out of there that have broadheads on them if you're practicing with broadheads, but generally speaking, those are totally acceptable, good targets. The type of target that I have is the third type of target, and that is the block style target. Now there is a brand called Block. I don't affiliate myself with any brand, so I'm not talking about any specific brand. This is a Cabela's model that I happen to like. It's the $40, $50 range target, and it has held up just fine. The broadheads will do a lot more damage to these targets, and you can see where these broadheads have opened up on this target. This target will stand up under field points for a long time. This is the kind of target that I use. I like it because it has multiple targets on the face of it. And once those get used up, I can turn it sideways and there's a target on the side that I can use. It has all kinds of options. It has gotten lots of use and stood up to all of that use. Crossbow targets are a must-have accessory. I take this with me when I go to Maryland hunting. I put it in the car, take it out, sight in the crossbow before I go hunting, just to make sure that it's still shooting accurately. I want to make sure before I go in the field that nothing happened during my trip, nothing happened during my travels to change the accuracy of the crossbow. The target allows you to do that. It is a must-have accessory for that reason. I recommend whatever type of target you get one that has multiple targets on the front. You can see here I've got several different options when I'm shooting. It's very important with crossbows, in my opinion, because more than once I've shot at the same target on this target, and with the second arrow I follow up with a shot at that same target, and either best case scenario shave the vein off, or worst case scenario hit the arrow and splinter the arrow or ruin a broadhead or whatever else might happen. So it's important to shoot at different targets each time or pull the arrow and start over. Crossbows, mine at least, very accurate. You are very likely to put the shots exactly in the same spot the second time. So that's for that reason I like to take one shot, then another shot, then another shot, and work right on down the line. And you can see and verify that those shots are accurate without running the risk of ruining any arrows. 2 different considerations if you're looking at targets are, number one, if you've got a really high speed bow, 400 feet per second, something like that, you are going to want to look at a target that stands up and it is designed for high speed crossbows. You'll start shooting through your target a lot sooner if you have a high speed crossbow. So looking for the appropriate target is important. On the other hand, if you're the kind of guy who goes out there and shoots an awful lot, then you're going to want a target that has a lifetime warranty. I've never done that, but that's what I am told can be done with certain brands and certain models of targets. So you might, if you're going to be in this for the long haul, or if you're going to take a lot of shots, look at a target that will give you that lifetime warranty. The problem with the pass-throughs, once your target starts getting worn out, it'll absorb the arrow a little quicker, allow the arrow to go a little bit farther and penetrate farther into the target. May not pass through, but if it passes through far enough to the point where the veins are now in the target and you've got to push it back through from the other side, which happens to me if I shoot at some of the more frequently used spots on this target, if that starts to happen, then you're in a situation where your veins are starting to peel off a little bit. It'll shorten the life of those veins. Won't hurt them. I mean, you take them back and get new veins put on those arrows for a couple of bucks at a local shop and you'll be just fine. But if you can avoid that, all the better. I talked about this before in other videos, but I don't shoot the crossbow enough to the point where this is going to wear out targets very quickly. In my experience, I shoot the target infrequently during the off season because I'm usually out doing other things. I'm usually working on habitat, usually working on food plots, things like that. In the late summer, as the hunting seasons approach, then I'll start shooting the target a lot more. I'll be shooting that crossbow, sighting it in, making sure that it is sighted in, and then shoot at this target at least once a week during the hunting season to make sure that it is still accurate, to make sure that it is still sighted in and that nothing has happened. Strings stretch, bumping the scope, things like that. You'll need a target for that purpose. For that reason, it is a must-have accessory. I take it to Maryland with me, like I said. I also, when I was out in Arizona, I used my friend's target because I had traveled all the way to Arizona with a crossbow, and I sighted in that crossbow with his target out there in the desert before we went hunting. Got to sight it in, must make sure you're accurate. Accuracy is number one with crossbow hunting. The last thing I want to point out about your target and practice and shooting at the target and all that sort of thing is make sure that you have a good backstop. Now I can tell you from my experience shooting the crossbow, I have never shot the crossbow when the crossbow was functioning properly and missed this target. It was always hit the target. Back when I replaced my scope, I was still somewhere close when I put the new scope on and shot at the target. I replace strings frequently and rotate strings, that sort of thing. Still pretty accurate, still pretty close with that new equipment when the equipment has been modified. Just a matter of dialing it in to make sure it's dead on before I go hunting. That has not been a problem for me with the crossbow. But there was a time when I had a limb problem on the crossbow. One of the limbs was not tightened down properly, and I fired the crossbow. It hit the dirt 10 yards off the crossbow and bounced up, never hit the target. That's done. So it's a good thing that I had that backstop. A backstop is very important. Make sure that everything behind your target is clear. There's no kids playing. There's no risk of hitting any people or glancing and hitting any people, because most of the time you're going to hit the target okay. The target will do its job, but occasionally things can go wrong. So make sure that you have a good backstop for your crossbow when you are practicing. That about does it. That about sums up everything I know about targets, everything I can tell you on this. Again, I apologize. I've had a lot of requests for this video and it has taken me far too long to get this information out there and get this video to you. But I hope that you have found this interesting and I hope you get something out of that. Make sure you subscribe for future videos. This is a summer where I'm doing a lot of crossbow videos. We're getting ready for the hunting season. Can't wait for Pennsylvania's 37 Days of Awesome. It's just around the corner. Like the Facebook page if you haven't done so already. And until next time, all hail Bunjie!